Indiana and Purdue meet inside Mackey Arena for volleyball for the first time since 2016. And we'll get you set with tonight's, and again, it is sold out tonight.
Chris, I've been in a lot of big arenas this season and over the years, and let me tell you, this might be the loudest arena I've ever been in.
Purdue fans sure know how to get up and shout. A little bit quiet right now as Ryan McAleer of Purdue gets us going with the first serve. That's a ball down the line and inbounds, and it's Indiana who strikes first, and that's a big point for the Hoosiers in a huge environment in more ways than one.
The biggest thing for Indiana and Purdue initially is just settling in, calming those nerves in front of a massive crowd. No player on Indiana's team has ever played in front of more than 8,500 people.
Now the crowd gets a little bit loud for Indiana's first serve of the match. It's Ramsey Gary, the libero. Big swing out of bounds from Candela Alonso Corcelis, and Purdue is on the board.
Initially, we might see some service errors that we don't normally see, attack errors that we don't see. Both sides just trying to settle in those nerves.
You know, that is obviously something we're paying attention to for Indiana as the road team, the less experienced team, but this is a huge stage for Purdue as well. A lot of pressure playing in front of your home fans in an atmosphere like this. Eva Hudson, that's in. Point Purdue.
Not only are both sides settling into this environment, but into this rivalry match. When your emotions are already heated, everything's heightened in a rivalry like this.
Chloe Chacoin, the sophomore from one town over in Lafayette, Indiana, with the serve. Hayworth sets Avery Tatum, the junior's playing a little bit banged up right now for Indiana, but she looked good on that swing and now goes back to serve.
Opposite, Avery Tatum has done a really nice job emerging as one of Indiana's go-to attackers. They'll really lean on her in a matchup like this. Top 10 opponent and your rival.
The offensive numbers, the hitting percentages for both these teams are pretty good. Almost a question of whoever plays the best defense ought to have a pretty good chance to win this match. Alonso Corcelis fights that one through the block, and a point for Indiana.
Something to watch for on Indiana's side when setter Kim Hayworth, number 10 in white, is up front. Purdue expects her to go ahead and take a swing on that, and when she doesn't, that leaves her attackers one-on-one.
Tatum still serving. That's a good one. Hudson the swing, dug by Alonso Corcelis, but out of bounds after another touch. Point Purdue. Purdue head coach Dave Shondell became the winningest coach in program history earlier this season. Passed another Hall of Famer in Carol Dewey with a win against Michigan State on October 6th. This is Shondell's 22nd year coaching the program. Native of the Hoosier State, from Muncie, and that's a service error for the Boilermakers. Point Indiana.
Not only has Dave Shondell really built up this Purdue program, but his family is really responsible for the rise of volleyball in this entire state and onto that in the entire country.
This is a great display of the sport across the state of Indiana as much as anything else. 15 athletes between these two rosters representing the Hoosier State. Great dig by Ramsey Gary, who's one of those native Indianans. Or Hoosiers. I guess everyone's a Hoosier tonight.
We're all Hoosiers.
What a pancake there by Alonso Corcelis. She's from Spain, in case you were wondering. Over to Hudson. And Hudson looks good in the first set. Indiana is coached by seventh-year man Steve Aird, who took Indiana almost to new heights last season with 21 wins. That tied a program record. It's awfully hard to compete in the Big Ten this year. The level of talent is so good, especially with the addition of 4 new teams from the West Coast. That's just a miscommunication for Indiana in the back row.
That'll happen in these loud environments. You have to be extra loud in these communication problems. You have to find a way to just call the ball off. Can't hear in here.
You certainly can't. Taylor Anderson with a serving error there. We talked to Indiana's coaching staff today, and they do have a card-type system for signaling and communicating to the players on the court, kind of like what you see on a football sideline, just in case it gets disruptively loud in here.
Yeah, Associate head coach Rachel Morris, normally in charge of running that offense as Indiana serves that ball out of bounds. She figured she had to be a little bit creative in how she was going to communicate with her setter tonight on the court because you probably can't hear her. She was going to throw out cards to show, hey, These sometimes mean something, and sometimes you're just trying to keep the girls loose.
Eva Hudson, the junior. And right now we're seeing a lot of service errors, Emily.
And that'll happen right away. When juices are flowing, normally you want to serve a little bit harder in some of these matches. It's an intense rivalry, emotions are heightened, but you have to lock in from the service line and just keep that ball in bounds.
Cameron Hayworth's first serve of the match, the captain for the Hoosiers, their setter. Kenna Woolard with the swing out of bounds, point Indiana. And we were going to pay, in particular, close attention to how Indiana handled this environment. Still very early in the first set, but so far so good. There's almost an ace. It's cleared by the libero, Allie Horning. And Chloe Chicoine with the power tip saves that point for Purdue.
Chloe Chicoine is one of the craftiest players in the country. Because she's only 5'10", she has to have so many tools in her tool belt. Right here, you'll see it's not the most ideal situation, a double block in front of her, just an easy tip right to the middle of the court around all the Indiana defenders.
Chicoine with 15 kills in Purdue's last match, a win at home against UCLA, but again on Purdue's usual home floor of Holloway Gymnasium, just across the brick road here outside Mackey Arena. A joust at the net, and that's Chicoine who lays out for it. Woolard is blocked. Over to Chicoine, she's blocked again. From the back row, Hudson. Hayworth. And a big block for Purdue. Raven Colvin and Kenna Woolard shut that point down.
Purdue is one of the best blocking teams in the country. That means on Indiana's side, they need to do a better job of covering. All the players that aren't attacking this ball need to be in, locked, and ready to play that up. Allie
Hornung serves. Her sister was a very decorated libero for Purdue as well. Tatum with the swing. It's dug by Hudson. Here's Chicoine. Off a touch, point Purdue.
That's a Chloe Chicoine special, just going right up and over the block, using those hands to her advantage. Again, she's not touching as high as most of the blockers in front of her, so she has to be more crafty. Going off the hands is one thing that she does really well.
Third-team All-American as a freshman, Chloe Chicoine. Just 5'10", but a bona fide outside hitter in the Big Ten. Awfully impressive. Hudson with a great up, and Raven Colvin with a powerful swing in the middle. Point Purdue.
Raven Colvin is the X factor for Purdue. We know Eva Hudson and Chloe Chicoine are always going to go off, but when Raven Colvin is involved in the offense, it changes Purdue's game.
She's become the elder statesman of this Purdue team that was very young, especially last year when they brought in 6 freshmen, part of a really highly touted recruiting class, now sophomores. That ball was thumped by Maddie Sell, the Indiana middle blocker. So Raven Colvin, these are her kills per set average, and her hit percentage astronomical this season in particular at .415. And as a middle blocker, she's an exceptional blocker also.
Colvin's offense is something that was a massive focus of the offseason. Getting that timing down with Taylor Anderson. Last year was shaky because Anderson was just a freshman, but right now it's looking pretty good. And you can tell the work that Colvin and Anderson have done in the offseason to make sure that that connection was good right out of the gates for Purdue.
Very impressive indeed. Colvin with her second kill of the match.
A little bit more dynamic as well. Normally last season we saw her either right in front or going on a slide attack. This year they're throwing some gaps and some quick sets right behind the setter.
McAleer, the freshman, serves for the second time now. Delaney Maple with the pass over to Alonzo Corsellis. To the pin, Chicoine sent back over. On the slide, Colvin is partially blocked, and Alonzo Corsellis puts that one down.
This is when Indiana's offense is so tough to stop. When they're in system, it is lightning fast from the time it's in Cam Hayworth's hands to the time it's out in the pins. Watch how fast this set is. You don't have time as a blocker to get all the way out and close it up. Oftentimes in system, it's one-on-one.
Ramsey Gary with a lob serve. Taylor Anderson tried to catch Indiana's defense off guard. They were not fooled. Gary with a beautiful up. Alonzo Corsellis blocked. Hayworth tips it over. It's sent right back by Taylor Anderson. And an illegal back row attack by the setter, Hayworth. That's a point for Purdue.
An impressive up on Indiana's side. Ramsey Gary laying out for this one. Just when you think it's down, she scoops right under it. In Indiana, though, Cam Hayworth, a back row attacker, can't send that ball over if you're going over the net.
Here's Chloe Chicoine. She serves Maple. Alonso Corsellis with a nice adjustment in midair. Gary with a great dig, punched over by Alonso Corsellis. Colvin delicately dug by Gary. Swept over by Maple, turning into a good point here. Another dig by Gary. Alonso Corsellis to the back row. Anderson sets Colvin on the slide. Point Purdue.
Indiana's defense is heating up. Ramsey Gary in the backcourt doing whatever she can to keep this ball alive. Check out these plays, flying all over the court. Purdue, though, everyone is contributing defensively, and they're able to transition it off of an impressive swing from Colvin.
Arguably the best point of the match so far. 3 kills for Colvin. Chicoine serves Gary. Tatum stuffed, kept alive. Tatum blocked again. Hayworth sets the middle blocker, Ava Vickers. And that's through the block, point Purdue. And the Boilermakers are starting to control this first set.
Purdue's doing a really nice job in transition. They're getting good touches on the block. That's slowing it down for the passers. Then they can run their offense in system.
Chicoine out. That's a big point for Indiana. And just so you know, there are Purdue students on either end of the floor tonight inside Mackey Arena.
It's almost unfair. They've got a double student section going on.
They do. It is a double student section. Raven Colvin, another big swing and a point for Purdue. 15-10 Purdue over Indiana.
They don't have hair.
Are you saying it's a trending look?
I'm just saying. You look at Kelly Sheffield up north. I don't know.
Good point.
Jared Elliott of Texas. I'm not. Craig Skinner. I'm just saying.
Kelly Sheffield, another Indiana guy, by the way. Maybe it's in Indiana. Maybe something in the water in Indiana. Maybe that's it.
Hopefully that doesn't hit me.
You're so far so good. You moved to Chicago, so I don't think you have to worry about it. Here is Julia Kane serving for Purdue. Kane off the bench coming out of the timeout. That's a point for Indiana.
What you can't do if you're Purdue is serve Ramsey Gary every ball. She is taking a ton of passes right now. Indiana's in system, and they're able to run a tempo offense. You got to keep the ball off the libero.
And Gary is an excellent libero, just a sophomore, but a highly regarded recruit coming out of Pendleton Heights High School, and a recruit that Steve Aird was not getting in this program when he took over 7 years ago. Really a sign of how the arrow is pointing up for IU.
Ramsey Gary is one of the best gets across the board last season. The numbers that she put up were absolutely insane, and doing the same thing this year. Second in the Big Ten with over 4 digs a set and really great passing numbers.
Now it's Taylor Anderson. You saw a sign that made reference to the Eras Tour earlier, and Anderson with an ace serve.
What a serve, going from zone 1 and right back all the way to right back on the other side. This ball is splitting the passers and going right over the shoulder.
Indiana calls a timeout. Purdue up 7, getting later on in the first set. Get things going, especially on the road. An attendance record for a Big Ten. Purdue meet inside Mackey Arena for volleyball for the first time since 2016. And we'll get you set with tonight's starting lineup.
And continuously finding ways to push the sport forward, get more butts and seats, and more eyeballs on the game.
15,000. This is Kenzie Daphne serving for Indiana. Both coaches tweaking their serving rotations a little bit here in the first set. That's Eva Hudson, who puts down her 4th kill of the set. Excuse me, her 5th kill. So here's Purdue, their average attendance of 2,200 plus in every season since 2011. And again, that's really good given the capacity of Holloway Gymnasium, and it's a bandbox there. We've called matches there. It's very loud. This is a whole nother level, though, coming inside Mackey Arena.
Yeah, Holloway Gym is loud, but man, this might top the cake on it.
I think so. And a bad pass by Indiana results in another point for Purdue. Rachel Williams, the redshirt freshman from right here in West Lafayette, doing the serving. Williams watches on as Emma Siegel checks into the game for the first time for Indiana. Trying to shake things up here late in this first set. Siegel was almost served. She was calling for it, but Maddie Sarah stepped in the way, and it's an ace for Purdue.
Purdue has really settled into this environment. They are keeping all the pressure on Indiana all around right now, looking pretty good. At Ball State and did an incredible job there. The family just really helped blossom the sport in this state and across the country.
And Dave Shondell has turned Purdue into a national powerhouse. Good swing put down right there by Indiana's Maddie in the middle from 33 years ago. I think really prescient, Emily, especially looking at the way this game continues to blossom.
So what do? You get in the gym. That's why these girls are so talented. They're not going to the beach. They're not going to professional sporting events. They are in the gym grinding day in and day out.
And gym tan laundry hasn't quite come to fruition in the Midwest during the winter. 22-14 now, Purdue in the first. The last 5 matches between Purdue and Indiana have gone at least 4 sets. Can't speak for the coaches, but we'd love a nice long match here inside Mackey Arena.
I always love 5 sets, come on.
Allie Hornung with the bump set to Woolard, and she drops that one down in the middle of the back row.
Purdue is rolling offensively right now, hitting over 400. Indiana's defense just hasn't had an answer for some of these shots, and Purdue's offense only getting better.
What's crazy is that this is not necessarily an anomaly for Purdue in terms of their hit percentage in this set. Hayworth pushes it over on the free ball. Anderson sets Colvin, automatic.
Purdue's offense has been so tough to stop because Indiana's not keeping the pressure on them. The Boilermakers have been in system at too high of a clip to stop. When you get Colvin going in the middle as well, I mean, it is game over. She is lights out when the ball's in her hand.
Hornung serves. It is set point Purdue. Another free ball dug by Hudson. Chacoin. Hayworth sets Alonzo Corsellis from the back row. Chacoin, dug by Gary. Tatum, power tip, it's blocked. And Sell puts it in, point Indiana.
Ramsey Gary is just digging ball after ball, doing a really nice job on Indiana's side, already up to 7 digs just in this set alone. She's all over the place. The rest of Indiana's defenders have to step it up.
Ramsey Gary with an Indiana program record 530 digs last season as a freshman. It's Delaney Maple serving for Indiana. Chacoin blocked. Hayworth, the back set to Maple. On the roster as a defensive specialist. Good swing there. Purdue keeps it alive. Roll shot Chacoin. Gary over to Tatum. And it's an Indiana point.
This is what Indiana wants to see from their team. Fending off set point after set point. Can they still have that fire and keep pushing to get some momentum?
And Indiana can take some momentum here into the second set. Almost inconceivable to think of Indiana winning this first set, but momentum still very much up for grabs. Anderson sets Colvin, a bad pass, and Indiana now down 24-17.
You're still down 7. Of course, you might not win this set, but it's really important to just gain some momentum, get some consistency headed into the next one.
Set point number 4 for Purdue. Here's Maple. Woolard, kicked up by Hayworth. That ball is still alive. Hudson, dug by Gary. Maple brings it toward the net. Alonzo Corsellis puts it down.
Whatever you got to do to keep the ball up, that's what you got to do. Cam Hayworth looking like a soccer player coming out. kick save on Indiana's side just to keep the ball alive. Check this out. Throwing up a foot, and that gets her done.
Almost as good as if she had passed it with two hands. Tight to the net. Pushed over by Colvin. It was dangerous for Purdue. Tatum the swing. Colvin puts an end to the... Known for its jump topspin serves. Now going into tonight's match, we talked to the Indiana coaching staff about this. They were going to try more jump floats to try and throw Purdue's defense off balance. Maybe go back to the topspin after losing the first set. I don't know.
Purdue puts that point down, but what Indiana was trying to do was not bleed points from the end line. A lot of their topspin serves haven't been as consistent as he wanted lately, so he didn't want to just hand Purdue points. But at this point, Purdue is siding out at nearly 70%. That is insanely high. You have to put in a little more heat from the end line. I'd expect Indiana to maybe throw in one or two topspin servers back into the mix.
Chloe Chicoine had the first kill of the set and serves and somersaults there on the dig, doing it all early in the second. That's Tatum, and the dig is shanked by McAleer. Point Indiana.
Avery Tatum continuing to bring the fire. Chloe Chicoine, though, in the backcourt, laying out for these balls, doing such a nice job. Not only getting it up, but getting it high enough to run their offense out of.
Tatum with the kill, now the serve. She serves McAleer. Anderson throws it up to Hudson. What a dig by Gary, goodness. Hayworth, the center, with the swing. Over to Alonso Corsellis. What an up by Chicoine, brought back by Anderson, cleared by Hornung. On the slide, Vickers is dug by McAleer. Gary, another dig. Alonso Corsellis wails on that ball, but way out of bounds. Point Purdue.
Indiana's defense is working so hard to keep these balls up. The offense just can't transition out of it. Ramsey Gary, another impressive up in the right spot at the right time, just scooping under this ball. If your defense is going to work that hard, you have to keep the ball in play.
Indiana, the underdog in this match, can hardly afford to be error-prone tonight. Purdue takes the first set 25-18. Steve Aird looks on as Julia Kane serves, an ace for Purdue.
Purdue really bringing the pressure from the end line. Already their fifth ace of the match so far. Indiana's passers not doing a great job of tracking this ball, and it's hit so well over the shoulder of the right back passer.
Kane is a sophomore from Florida. That was her 10th ace of the season, and that's a good swing from Candela Alonso Corsellis. Her nickname's Candy. That was a pretty sweet swing.
Much better swing from Alonso Corsellis on the outside. Last one hit way too long. This time got on top of it a little bit better to put it down.
First player for IU volleyball from the country of Spain. Grew up in Madrid. Now a junior. Chicoine from the back row, dug by Alonso Corsellis. Kept alive again by Candy. That was Lourdes Myers with the swing. And a dig by McAleer. Hudson, dug by Gary. Sent over by Morgan Geddes, who's on the court for the first time in this match, number 16 in white. But a point Purdue on another prolonged rally.
Both sides doing whatever they can to keep the ball. If the backcourt defense in this match has been absolutely outstanding, especially the libero on Indiana's side, Ramsey Gary, doing a phenomenal job. Purdue, though, finding ways to score points.
And 7 kills now for Eva Hudson. That's out of bounds, a service error.
This is one of the better matches that we've seen Indiana play from a defensive standpoint. Normally a team that's not known for digging a ton of balls, but they're doing a really nice job following the scouting report and diving into those seams.
That's another service error, this time from Ava Vickers.
That's the risk that Steve Aird was willing to play, not having that topspin server come in. Still just a little bit inconsistent. Ramsey Gary, 12 digs compared to the rest of the team's 11. I mean, she is going off.
Barely into the second set. It's insane. Point Indiana there.
Well, that's the thing about defense, too. You can do as well as you can in the backcourt, but you still have to be able to put balls down. Ramsey Gary could get every single ball up, but if her front court isn't putting it down, then they're not going to score enough points.
Played every match as a freshman libero in the Big Ten last year. Now the senior, Cameron Hayworth, from Fishers, Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis. And once again, the serving error bug pretty contagious.
And Cam Hayworth, normally a top jump spin server, going back to that float because Steve Aird wanted a little bit more consistency, but that's back-to-back errors from the serve from two people that have changed up their serve.
Allie Hornung serves. Geddes the pass. She gets it back and puts it in. Morgan Geddes, another veteran on this Indiana roster, her first kill of the night.
Indiana's really lucky to have Morgan Geddes on this roster as a fifth year, came back to play. You can really plug and play her in anywhere if they need help.
Purdue is going to challenge this, I think, in or out.
The ball was called in, and Purdue is challenging that the ball is out.
It's the first challenge of the match.
Definitely as close as it gets. The ball's coming so fast, it's tough to tell.
What'd you think about that look?
That look definitely looked in, but usually that end line shot looks in. Ooh, that might be the best one that we have.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. However, called in, remember, so there must be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call.
I don't know if it's enough to overturn it based on the looks that we're seeing.
I'm getting distracted by the Purdue student section, so I'm sorry.
I mean, they're so great.
Never a dull moment.
The boiler.
Hornung, the libero, serves Geddes again. And Sell in the middle is dug by Hudson. This is Chacoin. Not even Gary could track that one down. Point Purdue.
What a shot from Chloe Chacoin. Big block right in front of her. She uses her court vision just to go right off of the hands. Chacoin will actually look at the block before she takes a swing at that to see where the hands are and just swing high at them.
That's an ace serve for Allie Hornung, the senior from New Albany, Indiana.
Purdue is serving a heck of a match. Normally a team this season that hasn't been known for their tough serving, but they are picking apart Indiana's back line.
And of course, designed to be like a sibling trophy to the old Oaken bucket in football, the golden boot in soccer. An I or a P chain link is added based on the winner each year. Point Indiana out of the timeout, still very early in the second set, and trying to get back in this thing. Tatum with the last point for the Hoosiers. Delaney Maple, her first season at Indiana, grad senior, voted a captain after a very successful beach volleyball career at USC. Chacoin pushes it into the Indiana block, and it falls for a Purdue point.
Chloe Chacoin just never quits. From the time the whistle starts to when they blow it, she is playing out 100% all the time.
And at 5'10", able to get up, down, and back up again so quickly and play above the net, which you have to in the Big Ten. Anderson flips it to Chacoin. Gary sets up Alonzo Corsellis. Hudson. Tatum blocked, dug by Gary. It's Chacoin. Out the back row, Purdue thinks there's a touch. There is. Point Boilermakers.
And multiple times in that rally, Chloe Chacoin doing what her team needs, whether it's digging a ball, putting up a great out-of-system set, or getting that last kill. She has been phenomenal all season, really last year as well. But man, one of 2 players in the top 20 in the Big Ten in kills per set, under 6 foot, an undersized outside. I mean, they list her at 5'10", but let me tell you, she's more like a 5'9".
A serve, Ryan McAleer.
And this ball doesn't get placed much better, barely going over the top of the tape, just dropping right into a zone where there is no Indiana passer in sight.
Wow, so Purdue giving Indiana some problems in the serve and pass game. Tatum down the line, that's out of bounds. Point Purdue.
And it's been really hard to score in Indiana from the service line. They've been a really good passing team all year. They've had it locked down. Purdue just putting in bullets tonight.
Ryan McAleer tied a Purdue freshman record with 6 aces against Minnesota earlier this season. Floats one there into the middle, and Tatum misses out of bounds again. Point Purdue.
Back-to-back misses from Tatum, trying to rip that sideline, just going a little bit too sharp with it. Purdue's block, though, doing a great job being disciplined. That's the only shot that she had down the sideline.
McAleer serves again to Tatum. Alonzo Corsellis blocked. And she gets that one through on the second try. Point Indiana.
Huge for Indiana to side out right there, having some struggles in terms of passing. When they do get a good pass, though, the front line has to do that and put the ball down.
Ramsey Gary back deep to serve. Second team All Big Ten as a freshman. Raven Colvin stuffed. Point Indiana.
Kendall Alonzo Corsellis being big up front, tracking that slide so well, mirroring it, meaning she's making the same movements that middle blocker is making. Great job getting those hands up in time.
Gary puts it in play again. Colvin on the slide. And that beats even Ramsey Gary for the Purdue point.
Raven Colvin actually in the net on the follow-through on the way down. A good swing, but just clipped it at the end. A really good run on Purdue's side, but you'll see this net movement. Colvin just grabbed the net on her way down.
So Ramsey Gary still serving for IU. McAleer. Chacoin roll shot dug by Hayworth. Hudson soars from the back row. Point Indiana. There was another net violation there. Actually, a back row attack, excuse me. Hudson's foot perhaps on the line.
And Purdue struggling in this rotation, and Indiana really exploiting the short serve, trying to take Colvin out of the mix offensively.
But Gary on a bit of a run behind the line for Indiana. Chacoin with a big swing. Maple swats it back. On the free ball, Purdue. Hudson denied from the back row.
Indiana's defense coming alive. Ramsey Gary, yet another impressive dig in the backcourt, along with a chase down from Delaney Maple to save it. Then it's the front court defense for the Hoosiers that gets it done up front.
So Indiana on a 5-0 run. They still trail 14-10 in the set, but Purdue forced to call a timeout. Hoosiers on a run.
9 times out of 10, it's Big Ten teams.
Purdue's trying to get out of this rotation with Ramsey Gary serving, and that won't happen on that point. Tell you, Indiana's block has not been as good as it was last year. They lost their top 2 middle blockers from a season ago, but the block comes up big there. Alonzo Corsellis gets it over. Chacoin in the middle. Tatum at the pin, kept alive by McAleer. Chacoin smokes that one. Point Purdue.
even the smallest seams for Chloe Chicoine to get through, she manages to find them. Check out this seam, almost microscopic. When she knows where the ball is going, she goes outside of it to get the kill.
Just didn't look like there was much of a seam.
Looked like nothing hit there. I think it went through the hands of Tatum.
So Chicoine serves now. She was the #2 recruit in the country coming out of McCutcheon High School in Lafayette. That's a point for Purdue. Out of bounds. What a debut season for Chicoine. First team All Big Ten, third team All-American as a freshman. Hit .256 as a 5'10" outside hitter in the Big Ten. And she keeps that one alive on the swing by Alonzo Corsellis. Free ball offered to Indiana. Alonzo Corsellis terminates.
Indiana starting to find some fire back, first with a long service run from Ramsey Gary, now hitting just a little bit harder and harder. They have to keep up this intensity and keep that aggressive play on Purdue.
Avery Tatum serves. One of 3 players on the Hoosiers roster from the state of California. Delaney Maple with the swing from the back row. Colvin puts it down. Point Purdue.
Great run on Purdue's side. They get an easy ball handled decently well in the backcourt. They're able to run Raven Colvin right behind the setter on a slide. Beautiful set from Anderson.
Emily, both teams are hitting under 100 in the set. What does that say to you?
Too many errors are happening on both sides. We've already seen 5 attacking errors both ways, going long, going down the sidelines. They need to tighten it up just a little bit.
Well, that's off the antenna, so another error and a point for Purdue.
That one more of a setting error on Indiana's side. The ones that we have seen, though, here in the second set from both sides haven't necessarily been setting errors. The ball's in the right spot. The hitters just haven't been managing it well.
Julia Kane serves. Delaney Maple was a back row attacker. She couldn't leave her feet there. And Purdue capitalizes on the free ball. Eva Hudson with her 8th kill.
You can't give the Boilers a free ball. This will happen every time. Eva Hudson, a ball just running down your throat.
Purdue has grabbed momentum back. Now in the second set, it's 19-12. Eva Hudson, 1 year ahead of Chloe Chicoine, and as decorated. Hudson was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year 2 years ago. And with her and Chloe Chicoine, we talked about this at the top of the show, a really impressive and imposing 1-2 tandem.
It has been so tough to stop this Purdue team because they have so many weapons. It could be a different person every night. Tonight, that's outside Chloe Chicoine, just a sophomore. She has not made 1 error on 23 swings, 8 kills, hitting over 300, doing such a nice job. Even when the block knows where the ball is going, if they're out of system, she finds ways to get it done, whether it... I'm talking to John Cook before our match yesterday, the head coach of Nebraska. He was actually saying he wants his outsides to play like Chloe Chicoine with Krause and Landfair because of how technically sound Chloe Chicoine is.
At 5'10", she has to be. That's a point for Purdue. That ball was down. And the kill for Eva Hudson.
Purdue just keeping the pedal on the metal, finding ways to keep the ball down. Really good touch off the block. Coming out of nowhere to keep that up on Purdue's side, and Eva Hudson drops it right in.
Hudson's got 9 kills. And Kane keeping the service pressure on Indiana. Hayworth, Alonzo Corsellis. Pushed over by Anderson. Point Purdue.
High IQ play on Purdue. Did a really great job reading the defense on Indiana's side. Watch where the defenders come. They're very sucked up, chaotic play happening. Taylor Anderson identified it, pushed it to the back corner.
Anderson has 42 kills now on the season from the setter position. That service error for Purdue ends a 5-0 run for the Boilermakers. And some defensive substitutions onto the floor for Dave Shondell and Purdue. Candela Alonso Corcelis with the serve. Geddes off the tape, off the pin. Point Purdue.
Just too many attacking errors on Indiana's side. Already their 7th of just this set alone. Not managing these swings well.
Taylor Anderson averaging just under 11 assists per set. That's 3rd in the conference. Geddes. Here's Woolard. Point Indiana into the net.
Yeah, you just got to shake that one off. It's like pretend it didn't happen. No one saw anything.
When you think about it, if you're an outside with a 250 hitting percentage, that's a really good mark. That still means that the majority of the time, you're not putting the ball down, so you have to have a short memory. That's a service error from Luca Fickle, whose dad coaches the Wisconsin Badgers, and a good day for Wisconsin today, knocking off Northwestern, your Wildcats. Sorry, Emily.
Whatever. That ball just going out of bounds. Good communication on Purdue's side.
Ooh, that was off the foot of Anderson on the swing by Maddie Sell. And Chloe Chicoine cross-court kill.
We're seeing a bunch of soccer players on the court today. Taylor Anderson in the right spot. Just goes right off her foot and up.
I mean, Sell couldn't have, or rather Tatum couldn't have aimed that any better off the foot of Anderson there. Here's Sell, she's blocked. And a point for Purdue. And that gives Purdue an emphatic second set win. Great signs, a lot of wacky costumes. One of the best fan bases in the country, regardless of sport. We begin the 3rd set with Ryan McAleer serving. Purdue up 2-0, looking to sweep Indiana, its arch rival, and retain the Monon Spike trophy. Good start for Indiana, however. They strike first.
Indiana's going to have to pick up their offense. They were way too high error during the second set, hit negative during the second at 0-50. They have to find a way to keep the balls in play.
So here are the hit percentages. 205, not too bad for Indiana, especially on the road, but Purdue playing ultra efficient. There's a great dig by Ramsey Gary. Avery Tatum off the block, out of bounds, point Indiana.
When Purdue didn't have the most efficient second set, they hit 156. Indiana did a really nice job slowing down Purdue's offense, but the Hoosiers have to produce some kills of their own.
Here is Gary, who played for the U21 national team over the summer, and she digs Chicoine there. Great swing by Alonso Corcelis, but a fantastic dig by Purdue's libero, Allie Hornung. That's out of bounds, point Purdue.
Those are the plays that Indiana has to find a way to convert or just keep in play. Cam Hayworth goes up with one hand. The middle's already in the air. Sure, the set might not be perfect, but you have to find a way to manage and keep the pressure on Purdue's side.
Chicoine serves. Still alive on Indiana's side. Alonso Corcelis blocked. And Indiana runs out of touches. Point Purdue.
There's Raven Colvin again, just putting up a brick wall up front. Anytime she's up there, it changes the way offenses are run because you have to go away from her. If you're going to go right into her hands, it's going to come back pretty fast.
1.67 blocks per set, first in the Big Ten. An astonishing 18 solo blocks as well coming into this match. That's a point Indiana. That pass was off the pin. Probably would have been an Indiana point anyway. Steve Aird looks on. He beat Purdue for the first time in his career last year in one of the two matches against the Boilers. Eva Hudson with a little touch.
Really nice shot from Hudson on the outside. Indiana's defense really spread out that middle of the court, so wide open. All the passers just spread out to the end lines, sideline.
Hudson has a match-high 10 kills tonight, and she is really good, let's just say that, against Indiana in her career. Alonso Corsellis dug in the back row. Chacoin, and now Hudson. Great job by Indiana to keep the play alive. It was sent over by Emma Siegel, but nothing Indiana can do about that. Eva Hudson now up to 11 kills.
Hudson again exploiting the middle of the court for Indiana. Just a massive hole on their side. No one's defending it particularly well. The off blocker, meaning the outside on Indiana's side, has to identify it and pick it up.
Julia Kane. Hayworth over to Alonso Corsellis. She is stuck. No, not Raven Coleman, but actually Lourdes Myers with some help from the setter Taylor Anderson.
Lourdes Myers has done a really nice job over the past 2 seasons, really developing that defensive game. She does a nice job closing up seams, reaching out to her pin attackers.
Redshirt senior Lourdes Myers is bounced back from injuries earlier in her Purdue career, really closing out her career on a high note. Anderson sets Hudson, and she plants it.
Indiana's lucky they got their hands up in time, because Eva Hudson, she's bringing the hammer. Check out the angle that she's hitting this ball, cutting it inside the block. There's not a lot of hitters in the country that can do that.
Reese Hazelton, true freshman for Indiana, on the floor, number 24. Outside hitter, her first action of the match. There's her first swing. It's out of bounds. Point Purdue. This is Hazelton's 4th match of the season. Purdue quietly on a 5-0 scoring run here, building an early lead in the 3rd set. Kane again. Hazelton blocked. Point Purdue.
Purdue just forming a wall up front. Regardless of who's up there, they're doing a really nice job taking away seams that they're showing initially and then closing them up.
Quick set in the middle to Ava Vickers. Purdue ready for it. And Hudson places it where no one's there. Right into the campfire.
Hudson's 3rd time this.
Crowd just next door to Holloway Gymnasium. Candela Alonso Corsellis is blocked, and that's Anderson and Myers again.
Purdue putting up a brick wall up front. Myers is doing such a nice job closing to her right side blocker. Anderson set it up really well.
This is Kane. Ace serve. Kane's 2nd of the match, 11th of the season.
Purdue doing such a nice job from the end line. 8 aces already on the night, and this is a good Indiana passing team. They're just picking them apart.
Alonso Corsellis, dug by Kane. Here's Hudson. Cameron Hayworth with the attack and the point for Indiana.
Cam Hayworth has not been very offensive tonight. That's just the 3rd time she's gone up to take a swing. Normally she's somewhere around 4 attempts per set, but we have not seen her be very offensive tonight.
She averages just under 1 kill per set, very high for a setter. Alonso Corsellis with the serve. And on the swing, Lourdes Myers runs the slide. Her first kill of the match.
Myers getting involved in the offense for an attacker that doesn't get very many looks offensively. When she does get a look, usually it's one-on-one.
Ayers at the net front, Taylor Anderson behind the line. Overpass. What a dig by Gary, keeping the point alive. Hudson swings in, point Purdue.
Eva Hudson is just showing off her range right now. We have seen her make so many kills in different ways. A lot to the middle of the court. This time switches it up and goes for the end line, perfectly placing it right on the line.
And just 2 errors as well. That has been the problem for Indiana on the road in particular. Opponents are hitting .298 against the Hoosiers outside of Bloomington. That's out of bounds there, out the back row, point Purdue. Hoosiers just 2-7 away from Bloomington this season, and they've played some really tough opponents. And you can add at number 10 Purdue to that list. Hayworth over to Geddes, and it was off the pin at their football field.
This is why the Big Ten is so special, because the coaches are constantly pushing the envelope of what's possible, setting the standard and the bar even higher year after year.
Eva Hudson has been pretty much unstoppable tonight. Her 15th kill alongside just 2 errors.
Something about these big matchups makes Eva Hudson play even harder. I mean, she completely takes over.
Taylor Anderson serves. Geddes and Gary nearly collided. And it's a runaway train in the 3rd set for Purdue.
Everything going Purdue's way, and the service pressure has been a massive part of that. 9 aces already, just keeping the pressure on Indiana.
Hayworth with the swing, dug by Hornung. And Siegel can't keep it alive, point Purdue. Dave Shondell calling for Lizzie Carr off the bench, the 6'6" redshirt sophomore middle blocker. Anderson serving again. And that is an ace.
Purdue racking them up from the end line. This is one of their better serving matches all year. Of course, we saw them put up 17 aces against Minnesota earlier on. But man, they are doing work from the end line tonight.
With Anderson ready to serve again, Steve Aird of Indiana brings Carly Mills into the game, his senior DS from Fishers, Indiana. She actually played with several of her IU teammates at Munciana. We showed you that graphic earlier in the show. Hudson, that's in. Eva Hudson like throwing it into the ocean at this point.
She can't even believe it. She's so good. Managing to get kills in different ways. Every time the ball is in her hand, it is turned into gold.
She's from Fort Wayne. 15 Hoosier State athletes on display in this match. Taylor Anderson. Hayworth off the Purdue block. It's out of bounds and a point for Indiana.
Indiana just finding ways to try to chip away at this lead. At this point, you just got to find some momentum and string some points together.
Kenzie Daphne, senior from Westfield, Indiana, just north of Indy, in to serve for her 2nd time tonight. Long pass over to Hudson, dug by Mills, and the swing by Saris off the block for an Indiana point.
Just chipping away at the lead, trying to find ways. Kenzie Daphne, one of Indiana's better servers now on the end line.
The schedule does not get any lighter for Indiana. They return home to take on a top 10 Wisconsin program on Thursday. Overpass cleaned up in the middle by Sell.
Good service pressure on Indiana's side, forcing that overpass. Front court staying locked and loaded, ready to put it down.
That was Saris on the overpass kill, correction. So another one for Daphne. Chloe Chicoine flies in from the back row. That's her 10th kill.
Dave Shondell wanted to see more back row attacking involvement from his team. They've done a decent job so far keeping them involved. Got to keep it going. Beautiful set from Anderson, not only getting it up, but leading her back row attacker.
Rachel Williams serves. Ball was pounded by Maddie Sell on a beautiful set from Cam Hayworth.
And Sell trying to get her team fired up. You saw her digging into her teammates after this kill, saying 1 point at a time, guys, we can do this, but they're gonna need a lot more of that.
Sell has 6 kills. Cam Hayworth tonight moved into 5th place all-time on Indiana's all-time assists list. Saris blocked, still alive. That's Carr with the swing. Overpass. Out of bounds, point Purdue.
Avery Tatum going up a little bit tentative on that ball. If you're gonna go up and block, put 2 hands up. Don't just get one. Chloe Chicoine's good enough to use you.
Look at Purdue Pete jumping on a ledge behind Hallie Hornum. Off the block, out of bounds. Off the touch, rather, it is a point for Purdue. Really impressive conclusion to the match for Purdue. Geddes, the pass. She gets it back. Carr, dug in the back row by Mills. Chicoine, dug by Gary. Mills, the free ball to Purdue. Chicoine off the block, that's down, inbounds. Match point. Purdue 1 point away from holding on to the Monon spike. Adding another P to the chain link. Not quite yet. Point Indiana.
Number 3,
Delaney Maple serving to keep the match alive. Chicoine dug by Gary, nearly off the video board at Mackey Arena. Carr, that's a match winner for Purdue. The spike belongs to the Boilermakers.